Hello and welcome, I'm Tafaragadamu. For the last 6 years, 10 countries in this sub-region have been organizing the Nile Day celebrations to mark the establishment of the Nile Basin Initiative. And the 7th edition is now underway both in this country and other riparian countries. But is there any strong move forward along that line? My guest today, FekahmedNegash, says, yes, there is, always one step at a time. Welcome to the program, Fekahmed.
Thank you.
You're organizing the Nile Day celebrations in Bahar Dar town on Friday. What you're basically trying to do is to remember or to mark the day the NBI was established. That was way back in 1999. Is that the correct assessment?
Yeah, that's the correct assessment. And no.
But this is, you are marking the day for the 7th time.
Yes.
You started in, when was it, 2007 in Kigali, Rwanda.
Yes.
Now this is the 7th edition.
Yes.
So what is happening?
Yeah, actually, when we go back to pre-NBI, cooperative activities, there were various cooperative mechanisms before the NBI was established, which was designed in such a manner that it didn't go into actually an unequitable and utilization of the resources. So for that purpose, Ethiopia was observer during those cooperative processes. Then within that process, Ethiopia, along with the other upstream countries, worked hard toward the conception of NBI. And the countries of the Nile Basin agreed in 1999 on the 22nd of February to establish a Nile Basin Initiative as a transitional mechanism, cooperative mechanism that will lead to equitable and reasonable utilization of the water resources. So this is a very big breakthrough within the basin. So in 2006, the highest governance body of the NBI, that is the NileCom, the Nile Council of Ministers, where ministers of water affairs of the Nile Basin countries, they agreed to celebrate this day every year in all countries and then in a selected country at a regional level. So that is why, it was decided on 2006 and the first day was celebrated in 2007. Right. So it is now being celebrated in all countries every year and in one country at a regional level where all ministers will attend that.
Yeah, you have different themes for every year. The themes change basically, but in a nutshell, the Nile Basin Initiative was formed to kind of forge cooperation than discord, harmony than animosity. And that's what you're trying to kind of transfer to these kinds of annual celebrations. Is that right? Is that what it is?
Yeah, actually, the Nile Basin Initiative was established to ensure that the people and the citizens of the Nile Basin get access and benefit from the water resources of the Nile.
Well, definitely, yes.
In that process, the whole process of cooperation goes in two parallel tracks. The first track is the legal and institutional mechanism, which is actually mainly the negotiation between the countries. The other track is the cooperative mechanism, whereby we are working on different activities that can ensure trust between the countries and can also develop the capacity of the country institutionally and then individually, and then also it works on different projects and programs on the ground that can again facilitate the development of trust and can show also really the benefits of cooperation. So it is working at a sub-basin level on quick projects that can show clear benefits of cooperation on the ground.
Is that what you're trying to show, the benefits of cooperation in these annual events?
Definitely, during this annual event, we will try to show also the benefit of cooperation, because cooperation is more of a goodwill. There should be a goodwill in cooperation, and you will have a very good will for cooperation when you know that there is benefit also within that cooperative process.
So what do you have, what are you showing up in Bahar Dar?
Around Bahar Dar we have different projects which come through the cooperative process. One of this project is a watershed management project. As you know, the Ethiopian highland is highly degraded. For centuries, we have been practicing, agriculture which is not conservation oriented, and also there are natural and human factors that contribute to this.
But for the lay visitor, I don't see much of what you're talking about in terms of watershed management.
Yeah, watershed management means rehabilitation of the degraded land.
But that's what I'm saying. I don't see as a traveler. Which are the projects that you're trying to highlight? Which particular areas in the eastern side of the Nile, right?
Yeah. When we talk about the eastern Nile, we are talking about mainly 4 basins in Ethiopia. That is the Marab, the Blue Nile, Abai, the Baro Akobo, Sobat, and the Tekaze Atabara. So from this, like the Blue Nile, Abai Blue Nile is highly degraded, and even within the Blue Nile, the areas around Lake Tana are very much degraded.
And that's what I'm talking about.
Then we selected, some 5 watersheds around Lake Tana during this process. So as part of the cooperative process, like the Eastern Nile Technical Regional Office, which is one of the subsidiary units of the NBI, is actually located, headquarters is located in Addis. They did a study on those degraded watersheds, and they prepared a project, a bankable project. Then for that project, we have to get a loan from the bank, the World Bank. So the NBI solicited actually with the World Bank to secure the funding. So this project is a pilot project and is a very successful project. Now the watershed...
Successful in what sense? You started rehabilitating?
Yes, it is totally rehabilitated. A highly degraded area is totally rehabilitated, and the community is a witness, and they can tell how much benefits they are actually getting out of that system. And the project is now...
But these are sample sites, aren't they?
They are sample sites, and when we say sample sites, it is over 82,000 hectares.
Now, that's a drop in the ocean.
It's a lesson. The most important aspect of this intervention is that farmers, peasants in the area, which are outside the project, they looked at the benefit, their neighbors are getting from the project, and now they start by themselves. So this is actually the highest benefit, I can tell. And currently, like many people are coming, many scholars are coming from different countries in the basin, even outside, to get a lesson from these areas. Even some areas outside the basin are coming to get lesson also from the project. This is one aspect. And there is also another project, a flood early warning and preparedness project, whereby like areas around the Lake Tana, annually they are affected by flood. So there are projects which implement non-structural measures around the Lake Tana, like shelter. We have shelters for community affected by flood. We have escape routes, and we have also some early warning mechanisms where the inhabitants can really
take action before it happens.
Before it happens. Also, there is a irrigation project around the Lake Tana, which is prepared through this cooperative process, and whose implementation, the funding is obtained from the World Bank. Normally, the World Bank doesn't give a loan on a transboundary basis, but in this case, due to the facilitative role of the NBI, we secured funding for a feasibility study of 100,000 hectares and the construction of 20,000 hectares. So those are actually some of the tangible results we can tell on the ground.
And that's something that you're going to show these people who are descending on Bahar Dar?
Definitely, yes. We will show them the benefits of cooperation on the ground.
What is it? Are you just focusing on these sample areas, or you're moving forward?
This all depends on the level of cooperation we are achieving.
But you cannot say this is what I've done and that's about it.
Yeah, the overall objective of these projects and programs on the ground, they are known as actually subsidiary action programs. The overall objective is actually to support the legal and institutional process, so that those benefits of cooperation can facilitate the legal and institutional process, so that there will be an all-inclusive legal and institutional framework within the basin, which can lead to equitable and reasonable utilization of the water resources, during which actually the countries can really develop all the irrigation, hydropower, whatever you call any development, in a cooperative manner, without, affecting anyone downstream.
So basically, you're trying to tell your partners, the partners, I'm talking about, there are 10 riparian countries, which are members now with Southern Sudan, 11 riparian countries, and I'm talking about the downstream countries, Egypt and Sudan. You're basically trying to relay the message, i.e., whatever we are doing here is going to benefit you at the end of the day. And we're doing this with your consent. Is that the message that your projects are carrying?
Yeah, definitely. Normally, when we do development, if we do development in a cooperative manner, there will be a higher benefit at a basin level. Because what we do in Ethiopia, when we do in a cooperative process, will not have significant impact on the downstream users. So that is actually what we are trying to show the downstream countries, to show them that there is benefit in cooperation, come to the negotiation table, come to the cooperative process, so that at the end of the day, everybody will be a winner and there will not be a loser.
But when you talk about irrigation, I think that's where it gets a little bit difficult.
When we talk about transboundary water resources, it is a shared resource. All countries within the basin have equitable and reasonable access to the water resources.
Which is not defined as yet.
It can be defined. It is very clear. Equitable means, it doesn't mean equal sharing, but it has to be based on different factors. That is actually an amount that can be established through negotiation between the countries. There are various factors actually which can be used in reaching that amount, but it is still an amount of water that the countries can share and make use of. In doing that, Ethiopia has full right to utilize the water resources in an equitable and reasonable manner, without actually significantly affecting, the downstream countries' also use of the water resource. And then to come to that allocation of water, the countries have to know that there is benefit of cooperation. If no cooperation, definitely it will be difficult for a country to clearly understand the need of the other countries. That is why actually the countries have to come to the negotiation table.
Who is the target when you say, when you try to show the benefits of cooperation? I'm trying to understand this from the Ethiopian perspective. Is it the policymakers of the riparian states, most prominently, as I said, Egypt and Sudan, where the sticking point comes on and over again? Are you targeting the policymakers, the politicians, or the people?
Yeah, the target is actually the citizens of the Nile Basin.
Because the least informed citizenry is a source for discord.
Yeah. Even the reason, like one of the objectives of the Nile Day celebration is actually to create a wide awareness among the communities in the basin. So we are trying different media to inform the citizen that the Nile Day is going to be celebrated on Friday, 22nd of February. And apart from broadcasting and disseminating information, on the day, one of the event is a band march, whereby all participants walk for kilometers, like 2-3 kilometers, holding each other's hand, and then with a slogan, which can promote cooperation. So there is, a very big visibility within the Bahir Dar area on that day, during which, we can disseminate a lot of information telling the public that we are cooperating, then we are also benefiting. So we are targeting the policymaker, the technical people, as well as the local inhabitants.
But how would, local inhabitants, clearly, yes. But how would this message reach, for example, an ordinary Egyptian or Sudanese?
Definitely there will be, like the celebration is revolving in all countries. Like if we look at the last 7 events, it was held in many countries. On the same day, on the 22nd of February, this event is being celebrated in all countries. So the same thing is happening in each country, then in a selected country like this year in Ethiopia at a regional level. The other mechanism is that we are inviting, the media from all over the world. So we believe that they can also deliver the message to inhabitants of different.
The problem, I think, is I feel that populations in these riparian countries are least informed about their transboundary resources in terms as a source of cooperation, as a means for cooperation rather than conflict. Am I correct? Or is that far-fetched?
We can look at that from different perspective. Like if you are asking me if the public knows that the water is a shared resource, definitely the public is well aware of that. The water is a shared resource. Like if you go to the basin, if you go to the local community, and if you ask them about the Abai or the Tekaze or the Baro Akobo, the public can tell you that it is a transboundary river.
Well, definitely they will tell you that it's going to cross the borders of Ethiopia and migrating somewhere else.
And
that's for sure.
They can also tell you that it's a shared resource. But if you are asking me about the...
But that's a little bit quite...
I think this might have emanated, from the culture and the tradition of the people in rural Ethiopia, where, people even share own resources. Like you go to local, the inhabitants of the local people in the area, they share not only the water, they really share even their milk. They really share their products. I mean, I think it could be due to, it may emanate from this tradition that they can tell you it is a shared resource, which is they share, with Egypt and Sudan or with downstream countries. And once even I was following one of a documentary film done in Ethiopia, in the Nile Basin, whereby, a very traditional person was saying that the Nile belongs to all, and they said it belongs to none. So this is actually the film ended actually with this quotation. So the public is very aware of the fact that the water is a shared resource. But if the question is the public aware of the political process going on, the cooperative process currently going on, it is difficult to say that the public, particularly the local people, is aware of. No, it's quite difficult because we have to work towards that in the future.
What do you mean? How?
Like currently...
you think that this is very important, right?
This is very important.
Because people have to come aboard what you're doing.
Yes, definitely. Because, informations have to be released at the right time. Like when we were working on the legal and institutional process, up to the end of the discussion or the negotiation, informations we agreed not to release. So we kept that to only to few people who are directly involved. But since the end of that process, information is being disseminated at various levels. But enough has not been done so far, and we have actually our own communication plan, which we are actually launching currently. So we will definitely take that now to the public.
Why didn't you do enough?
The reason was that, even the process ended 2 years ago. And during the last 2 years, we are actually working on the directions to go, actually. So for that purpose, we didn't go down to the community, but like at academic level, at official levels, at the policymakers level, it has already been done, and everybody is aware of that process. The local community, we have to have a mechanism, we have to have a resource, we have to have, linkage and a network actually to do that. So we are actually working on that, and it will happen very soon.
So you think that the NBI is making a real difference?
Definitely. Yes.
Beyond what we hear in workshops and conferences, including this one, perhaps?
Yeah, definitely. There are a lot of projects and programs which were actually implemented at various levels. So those projects and programs actually showed, to some extent, the benefit of cooperation. But if you are asking me whether enough has been done or not, it is quite difficult to say enough has been done because the expectation of the public is very high.
But I'm assuming that there is so much tug of war going on within the NBI, because we're talking one of the most defining transboundary resources, water.
Definitely, I think it is important also to look at what has happened in other parts of the world, because if you look at different transboundary management issues in other parts of the world, they took actually decades and decades to come to a sort of an agreement. So when we compare the Nile, like with the Mekong, which took nearly about 4 or 5 decades to reach an agreement, and in which even some countries are not yet involved, including China, the level of achievement in the Nile Basin, I can say, is by far better than what has been done in other parts of the world. And when we look at the local situation within the Nile Basin, it is very much complicated. The Nile is very much complicated because the water has been used for centuries by few countries, others not. And then when we look at the level of dependence on water resources by other countries and the need and the aspiration of upstream countries also to develop, and the environmental degradation, the poverty, the instability, all this actually contributed to the problem actually we are talking about now. But when we look at what was happening before 10 years, where even the experts do not come and talk to each other, but now we are celebrating the Nile Day together, the day where the countries agreed actually to reach an equitable and reasonable allocation of water resources. So it is by far better than what has been done before the NBI. So the achievement is relatively good.
And when you look ahead, what do you expect? For example, in the next 5 to 10 years, what do you think will happen?
In the next 5 to 10 years, the countries actually, like when we look at the legal and institutional framework, so far 6 of the 9 countries who negotiated have already signed the agreement, and we expect actually, and the countries are actually discussing with others who didn't sign so far. And there is also a new country, Republic of South Sudan. They are also looking into the possibility of having, they are looking into the possibility of also part of that mechanism. So the countries have already started the process of ratifying or ratification of the legal document, and that once that is ratified, then the countries can go to establishment of an institutional mechanism, that is the Nile Basin Commission, which can work hard actually to bring on board.
Which has been on the table for a while now.
Yes, it has been on the table for some time, and the ratification is not a very easy process. Like if you take the UN Convention, which was passed in 1997, which needs the ratification by 35 countries, have not been done so far. So ratification is not an easy process.
The nitty-gritty of it all.
Definitely. I mean, it has to go through the legal process of each country. But the most important aspect is that all countries have already started the ratification process. Then once the commission is established, it can work to bring also other countries on board, and also can start the process of managing the common resource.
Fek Ahmed, it was a pleasure having you on the show. Thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much.